Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. We are here today at the Center for Creative Arts at Tri-C, and we're here with Tri-C JazzFest Managing Director Terri Pontremoli. Terri, thanks for taking time to talk with us.
Great to be here. Thanks.
You look so calm and composed. You must be going crazy getting ready for this.
It's a million details. It's a big pile of details, but it's all going to be wonderful when it all happens.
And it's happening very soon. How do you do it? I wanted to ask you, because I've been in this business a little myself, how do you get the biggest names, really the biggest names? You've got Natalie Cole coming this year. You've got these, Dr. John, right? I mean, how do you do it?
Well, those are the things that, actually happen because of the college, because we are a big organization, a little organization within a big organization, except that it's interesting, our festival really has the big impression. Everybody knows the branding of Tri-C JazzFest. So it's really, it's a great partnership between us and the college, even though we are a part of the college. So they make it possible for us to do some of these great things. Right. And also sponsors.
Exactly. Right. But you are also really smart with the artists that you pick, because you have done it, you've done it again here. Robert Glasper Experiment just won the Grammy. Last year, I think it was...
oh, God. Now I got to think about what last year was.
I know. No. Esperanza Spalding, right? Right after she won, you guys had her here. How do you do that? I mean,
That's
are you
luck.
just...
That's luck. It's really luck. I mean, there are times when, you're thinking, who's hot? But then there are times when you're thinking, what do we really want to do? And sometimes it just happens that person. The interesting thing about Robert Glasper is that he actually won a Grammy in the R&B category. So that makes it nice for us to do some real marketing around, We are all over the map. We have so many different kinds of artists playing, and I think that's what's really great, and that's one of the things that I'm kind of talking about a lot these days, is the genre bending, because we're really in and out of a lot of different genres.
And you are R&B with Natalie Cole, for example, and you crisscross a lot. You guys you do hip-hop. I mean, it's really interesting.
Well, I think, the other thing is that the artists themselves are interested in doing this kind of stuff. Like Robert Glasper, the music that he grew up with is hip-hop. He can play a lot of jazz, but he grew up with hip-hop and with R&B. So those are influences. Look at Natalie Cole. I mean, yes, she is an R&B person, but she's got jazz in her DNA. There's no question about that. So having her play on a stage at Playhouse Square and having the Clayton Hamilton Jazz Orchestra, which hasn't been in this area since 2004, is really terrific, because they are the most swinging big band there is in the country, really, my opinion.
Talk about your opening night, because you've got Aaron Neville and Dr. John. How did that come about?
Well, again, we thought a New Orleans-themed night would be great. And once again, I think both of those artists hit with big records this year. Big. Yeah. So, and again, it was kind of luck, but we thought, let's do something that really starts off with some swamp and some stomp and some get down to it. And so for the first time, we're also going to do an opening night party in the State Theater lobby that's free, and that's going to be some Detroit funk from Nadir and Distorted Soul. So people can come down, even if you're not going to go to the concert, but you might get tempted to go to the concert once you get down there. But, have some great brew, because the Great Lakes Brewing Company is the sponsor, and listen to this group and dance and shake it up and come out and hear Aaron and Dr. John.
And then you kind of segue into Kenny Garrett and smooth jazz coming up right after that. Right. So you go straight into that.
Well, the one thing that I really like to talk about this year is we tried to pack our weekends a little bit more. So on Saturday, you can immerse yourself. So you come to the State Theater, you go into the Ohio Theater to see Robert Glasper at 2 o'clock. You come out, you go to the State Theater lobby, you have a drink. You then listen to the Downbeat Blindfold Test, which... Again, that's a great thing. It's an iconic thing that happens every month if you're a downbeat reader, but you get to actually see it live, and Javon Jackson will be on the hot seat. So you get to do that, again, in the lobby for free. Then at 4:30, you go back and you see Kenny Garrett. Then you go out and you have a wonderful dinner somewhere, and then you come back to the State Theater and you hear the Tri-C Jazz Studies students perform in the lobby, because we have that stage. And then you go and hear Smooth Jazz All-Stars. That's a big weekend.
And it's a way to really stay down and get that whole festival atmosphere. We just ended up with the film fest here, and it's that kind of thing where you just stay and you go from thing to thing.
Yeah, I think that that's what has been missing in this festival, because it's gone on for 10 days and it's been like one thing a night. But this is like kind of saying to the outside world, come and hang in Cleveland for a weekend. Stay at the Wyndham, stay right where you can walk right into all these venues and have a really great time. And then on Sunday, by the way, the other great thing that we're doing is Dex at 90. We're celebrating Dexter Gordon, and I feel really happy about that because they're celebrating Dexter in Copenhagen and Paris and New York and Cleveland. And Maxine Gordon, his widow, is going to be with us, and so she's going to do a little talk with Javon before the shows, and there's 2 shows, and they're at Nighttown.
And you got a little Cleveland pride coming there, and you've got a couple of Cleveland artists coming as well, Dominick Farinacci and Joe Lovano, really huge.
Also, the TCJF Soundworks, they're all local, and they've actually invited one of our alumni from here, one of our alumnus, and that is Curtis Taylor, great trumpet player. So he's also going to be joining Javon Jackson in that Dexter Gordon tribute. Dominick Farinacci and Joe Lovano, both Italian. You know, I think we forget how really big and famous Joe is.
Yeah. Play with everyone.
He really has. And he's such, you know, whenever I'm listening to radio and I hear Bruce Lundvall, Bruce always says, when I heard Joe, I said, this is the best tenor player I've heard in my lifetime. You know, I mean, he's just like, this is the cat, and he is. And so to have him celebrate his 60th birthday here is really exciting for us. And he's never forgotten his Cleveland roots, and he's going to have a lot of Cleveland people with him on the stage at the end.
You're doing some cool stuff here, Anat Cohen. You're using this venue. Young artists, too. I love this, that you get the sort of legends, and then you get the really young folks.
We're getting these young folks who people are going to be thinking about as legends later on, because that's what happens when you get somebody that's young and good. But on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at the Tri-C campus, these are the best bargains to come to. You don't have to pay for parking. You just come on down. It's a $15 ticket. You will hear on Monday night Orrin Evans, this pianist who plays in the Mingus Big Band. He also plays with Sean Jones. He's done a lot of recording on his own. He will be playing, and before he plays, we've invited a group of kids from Washington, D.C., and they're going to play. It's a big band, so they will open for him. On Tuesday night, the Tri-C JazzFest High School All-Stars will open for Dominick Farinacci, who will be joined by Aaron Deal, great pianist out of Columbus. He's, of course, living in New York now, but he's just one of our Ohio boys. And they're going to be joined by this fabulous new singer, Cécile McLaurin-Salvant, who is French and Haitian, and she is only 23. Old soul. She's spectacular. So people will see that on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, from as far away as Tel Aviv, we've got the Ramon School Jazz Ensemble, and they're going to open, well, actually, they're not going to open, they're going to play with Anat Cohen.
And Dominick's done such a great job here with, is it a young visiting artist?
And that's kind of been the seed of this. I think, you know, the idea that he can be a sort of tastemaker for us here in Cleveland. He's in New York, and he's basically hearing and playing with all kinds of young musicians, his peers, and he's bringing them to us throughout the year. And when they're here, they're just having this wonderful, you know, experience playing with our kids, you know, and our kids are looking at these guys and going, these people aren't that much older than we are. This is kind of neat, you know, so it's been a good way to kind of, he's been a Pied Piper, I think, for the music for us.
And he's awesome with the kids. He's like a kid himself, really.
Yeah.
Talk about Michael Feinstein. I'm fascinated with him and his sort of collecting of the early American songbook.
Well, you know what, I mean, he is so well studied. He knows the American Songbook like no other, and the history of it, and of course had such, you know, personal engagement with Ira Gershwin. And so his show, The Gershwins and Me, it's based on his book, and each chapter of the book is a song. And then he tells a story. And he's, you know, I mean, that's what we love about the American Songbook. It tells a story.
Right. Then you have one outlier performance, you're calling it, but the Spanish Harlem Orchestra, right?
It's kind of on the other end. It's a week later on May 4th, but we wanted to do it on the Saturday night. We used to do a Latin jazz night all the time here. Right. So we think it's really exciting that we're bringing in the Spanish Harlem Orchestra. They're one of the best. That's all there is to it. And I want to see people up dancing. But anyway, it'll be here at the Metro campus.
It's another genre into itself, that whole Latin jazz thing. It started with jazz, but now it's more about dance and fun.
You know, again, when you think about Dizzy going to Cuba and what he discovered and how that translated into what people started listening to and feeling, and it really, even television, Desi Arnaz, you've got to really think about how all this stuff really does affect us and how it's all connected.
Well, good luck with things. You got your hands full here, Terri. Thanks for taking a few moments and talking.
It's always great to see you, and thanks for everything you do.
We'll see you in the seats here at some of these shows.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland.com. Have a great week in Cool Cleveland.